Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Dave Cook, and I'm the director of the Wolff Center. And a couple of weeks ago, we had the great honor of being ranked the #1 undergraduate program in the country by the Princeton Review. So as we were talking about this, one of our mentors, Beth Denard, said, wouldn't it be nice if some of the counselors in this city knew a little bit more about the Wolff Center? So that was the origin of the idea, was let's talk to people about what we do here in the Wolff Center. Along the way, it was thought that perhaps I might not be the biggest draw to get people to come. And so that perhaps Rob Frantic, who everybody knows from the Princeton Review, would bring not only more value, but be a real treat for us. And so we're delighted to have him here today. So you're going to get the opening act of Dave and what the Wolff Center is, and then we're going to have Rob come and talk to you about the state of high school applications and what's going on in colleges today. And so we're looking for a very engaging experience for you folks. The other co-conspirator in putting this together is Valerie Blair, and her husband Ed and I run the Wolff Center. He's sort of the inside, very smart guy. Academically, we have one of the best programs on the face of the earth, which you're going to see. I'm sort of the outside guy that deals with mentors and the programs we run outside the classroom, so that's the duality of what we do. But Valerie and Beth are the reason that this is going on today. So thank you both ladies, and with that, we'll get started. Oh, the other thing is that everything we're now doing is we're trying to film. We're trying to keep a chronological order of what we'd go through in this program. So I probably ought to introduce our film crew. I'll screw up the thing. Jessica Polonius was in our program, went through our program. We assured her there was no way she could start a nonprofit dealing with video, documenting good causes. She didn't listen to us, created her company, has gone on to make a success. She also married Nelson Venegas, so it's now Jessica Polonius Venegas. And together they have a company called Good Sparrow, and they are documenting our procedures this morning, which is why I'm holding this mic even though I'm 2 feet away from you. So with that, our intent is to take a half hour, 35 minutes, and look at the Wolff Center. We're then going to take a little break, set Rob up, and the hope is that this will be an engaging experience for you all. Can I go back to this one, Dave? Good. Okay, so you are here at the University of Houston, 66,000 students. Within that, there are 6,000 students in the Bauer College of Business. Within that, there is this thing called entrepreneurship, and we educate 2,800 students a year in entrepreneurship. From that group, we do a lot of things, but we're going to focus on sort of a broad view of what our mission is. What we're trying to do is we're trying to educate as many students in entrepreneurship as we can through our cohort program, through certificate programs, through taking what we do here in the Wolff Center and spreading it to other colleges around campus. We're also trying to create experiences rather than just classroom opportunities for understanding entrepreneurship, and we are very clearly trying to make this program, the Wolff Center, and what we do here sort of a diamond in the crown of the university in total. So one of the things we do is that we attract great people to come and teach, to coach, to mentor, and so part of what we're doing today is also introducing a program to you so that if you see people Thank you. Already, I've screwed up the technical. Are you good? Thanks, Faith. So if you see people as you go around that you think might bring value to this program or want to change the lives of some students, you will be aware, and I would be the contact. So what we're doing is we're doing a lot of things around SURE is a program that we operate in the third ward, and we have over 120 applicants come and from the local community with an idea. It might be to start a pressure washer business, might be whatever. We have classes every Saturday. Our students mentor them, and we've started numerous businesses through that. We have last year over 500 mentors. Think about that, 500 good people from the city of Houston come and work with our kids. We're in a collaborative venture with Rice where we do a Red Labs tech startup and their program, Allspark, and we have bring in investors, VCs, in the end of August. So I'm not going to take you through all of it, but the point is that of our 108 majors that we had, students from 84 of those majors took entrepreneurship courses. So we're spreading entrepreneurship throughout the university. We have started 2 years ago a program called Women in Entrepreneurship. And if I didn't tell you, the one thing that you can never do is leave your phone on while you're making a presentation. So any kind of entrepreneurship business you want to start, we have the resources and the people to help you do it. We're blessed to be in a city that also has a pretty good reputation for entrepreneurship. It is viewed as the #1 entrepreneurship city in the country. The last 10 years started over 100,000. Roughly that translates to, for every job created, for every company created, there's 5 jobs. So that's 500,000 jobs. We here in the center, this is sort of what we're doing at the University of Houston. Our students have started over 1,200 businesses. Our students who go through our cohort program or get certificates have started over 900 businesses. The Red Labs and so forth that I mentioned are all, so we're cranking out businesses, and that is one of the things that we're intent on doing. The other thing we're intent on doing is changing the lives of our students. And we want to do that not just by education, we want to do that by personal development and so forth. So our program that is the Wolff Center, that is sort of the highlight of the entrepreneurial experience here, is called the Wolff Center, and it comprised of 4 semesters. Everybody, the 2,800 people, take an introduction to entrepreneurship. The second semester they're in it, they take revenue and cost. We also have a class that I teach called Purpose. Third semester, they take capital and strategy, and then leadership. In the final semester, they're involved in projects out in the market or internships, and a course called Launch, where they're actually intent on launching their businesses. And within that, there's lots of experiences, simulations we do. We're going to go take you through it, a bunch of those. 2 things that I would note. The core values that this center has are relationships, purpose, action, and engagement. We want our students to have a vision for their lives. We want them to value relationships. We want them to be able to do something, and we want them to be in control of their lives. And in helping us do that, last year we had 515 mentors. So when you look at how can the Wolff Center, a small group of people, compete with people on a national level, the Big 12, the Big 10, and so forth, #1 is our students. And this is what I think we're most passionate about and we're most proud of, is that our students tend to come out of this program as grateful, humble, hungry, and are not afraid to go work. We work hard on their values and their character, and that to me is the start of everything that good happens with entrepreneurship on this campus. Students attract mentors, attract good coaches, and so we work very hard to get students who are passionate. When we put people into our program, it is not unusual to have people who have 4.0 grade point averages not be accepted in favor of students who we believe are passionate about creating jobs and futures for the city and for our country. The second differentiator would be our mentoring program, and again, we're blessed to be in a city of Houston where the spirit of entrepreneurship is alive and well. Every year I go out and find supermen and or superwomen who want to come and make a difference in the lives of our students. Beth is one of the people that we caught a couple years ago and is now back for multiple mentoring experiences. And there's a lot of mentors a lot of roles for mentors here, but none is more important or more valuable than the personal mentor. Each student in our program receives a ceremony where they get a jacket and they're introduced to a personal mentor. So a lot of things, we could go through all of these, but the point is 523 people. The other thing that differentiates us, the third thing is that we spend as much time focusing on excellence outside the classroom as we do inside the classroom. One of the things that I saw early on was that Gallup did a study, and they went and they asked the president or the provost of colleges, and they said, how well do you think you're doing preparing students for life after graduation? Those academic leaders said, 98% said we are doing a spectacular job. They went to the American public randomly and said, how well do you think colleges and universities are doing in preparing students for the real world? And that answer was 13%. They then went to American business leaders and said, how well do you think people coming out of college are prepared for business? And that number was 11%. So what were the differentiating factors that made people say, hey, I had a great experience and I'm ready to go out and tackle the world, or I'm not? And those 6 things we're going to look at, but if you had none of those experiences, you had a 4% view of I'm going to be ready to go. If you had all 6 of these, your view of I'm ready to go out and tackle the world was 85%. The first thing that made a difference was if a student had at least one professor who made them excited about learning. Made all the difference in the world. The second is a professor who cared about me as a person. And the third was a mentor who encouraged my goals and dreams. So we'd been doing these things for a long time, but it reinforced the importance of people and relationships as you shape the future of college students. Of all the graduates who experienced all 3 of those, the number was 14%. So if people are the answer, what else can you do? You can have experiences, and the fourth thing that made a difference in the lives of students was a long-term project that took more than a semester to complete, an internship where they got to take what they learned in the classroom and actually apply it, and finally was involvement in things outside the classroom, extracurricular activities, and students graduating who experienced all 3 of those were 6%. So when we look at what we do here at the University of Houston and here in the Wolff Center, those are sort of the core foundation of what we do in changing the lives of our students. We will have a new class of students in this room in February, and at that time, we will put every mentor's picture up here and talk about them, and that mentor will be introduced to a student, and that mentor and student will be together for the next 2 years, and in reality, long off into their lives. Some of these relationships have been going on for 20 years. So if you want to change lives, we are a big believer in the experience is more important than information. You can tell somebody what it's like to ride an elephant, or you can actually ride the elephant. And so the University of Houston and what we do here in the Wolff Center is we deliver a good business education. If you want to understand markets and competition and do value proposition, and you want to do financials and accounting, and if you want to do the latest tools of how to look at business model canvases, we do all that. We're cutting edge stuff of what we're doing there. But what differentiates us is that we also focus on this notion of human development. And in that regard, teaching students how to think critically, how to use different tools of reasoning to look at problems and solutions. We also have a strong belief that if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to be in a leadership position. And having the ability to influence other people and teams is critical. And finally, the ability to stand in front of people and connect, to be able to take an idea and express it in a way that draws people to it. So when Bill Sherrill, the guy that was started this thing 28 years ago, he and I sat down about 10 years ago and said, what do we want in the way of business outcomes? That's what we want every student who goes through our program to be able to do. Notably, the last one being capable of starting a business using all of the tools that are available that an academic institution can deliver. But we went beyond that and said, what do we want in the way of human outcomes? And these are, we want students to be able to connect with their alumni, with mentors. We want to be able for them to create relationships, to have leadership experiences. And so what we do is we create a duality of a business, how do I start a business, and how do I create and become a leader who is a person of character. The first thing we do in the first semester is I put teams together of 5 students, and we give each team $5,000, and we say, go find something on Amazon. It's not sexy, just go get it, source it in China, get samples. Your goal by the end of the semester is to have a product listed on Amazon. So we have salt and pepper shakers and so forth, but the track of how do I actually get something up and running and sourced from China, we do. Now our classrooms turn out to be warehouses at times, but the point is, it is real. They're dealing with real products, real suppliers, real supply chains, and it is a wonderful, rich expectation is that at the end of this, they'll give me my $5,000 back. The second thing that this university does in trusting our entrepreneurs is they open their portfolio of intellectual property and say, hey, we've got stuff that we've patented. We spent $250,000 creating an exclusive on this technology, and we're going to turn it over to a bunch of our students to go develop. They're going to put financials together. They're going to build a plan. And we also work with NASA in doing that. And the intent is to take a technology and do the same thing. Can you create a business? In our auditorium over here, we at the end in December, we have an internal business plan competition where every student is on stage and they're competing for real money. I would focus your attention in this particular slide on my spectacular Christmas pants. We have proven that we can compete with anybody around the country in any venue. Our students are as competitive or more competitive than anybody. I love, this was last year they had this kid, Brad, had a technology, that team had a technology of putting solar panels on rail cars and to eliminate the diesel component and make the environment cleaner and so forth and so on. They went to MIT and came in second place. The team that finished first was a team of 6 PhDs from MIT. So what we do and how we can compete, whether in the Rice Business Plan competition, whatever it is, we can take, if you give us great technologies, we can compete with anybody. We also create experiences for our student like banking night, where this guy is a currency trading, and we want our students to be comfortable that I can walk into a bank, I know what they do, I know who to talk to. I know what a loan officer is. And so that is a wonderful experience and a relationship that we have with Cadence Bank and Bill Babor and some of the folks over there that we work with. We also, with Porter and Hedges, take our students, and half the class is divided into a team that wants to sell a business, the other half into teams that want to buy a business. They don't know each other position. Each team is given a lawyer, a banker. They go into a room in an attorney's office and see if they can cut a deal. This past year, for the first time ever, all of our teams were successful in completing a deal. But again, you start to see the investment that the community is making in helping our students go through these negotiations with real people and real investors. It's humbling to look at what the city has done in helping us create this highly ranked program. The final semester is a retail experience where it's called Wolff Fest, where we take over this whole area right out here and turn it into pop-up food restaurants. The intent is we have an auction where we sell off the real estate, all the marketing, all the promotion, all the pricing, they go find corporate partners to provide food, and then they operate a business for 3 days. Does the credit cards work? Do they have their CRMs working? Yeah, all of that is very real. In 2019, we raised $255,000 in 3 days. Since 2011, we've raised $1.3 million. That money goes to two things. One is creating better student experiences, so we take them on trips, and for graduation. So where do we take them? Last year, they were at Google, they were at Facebook. Another trip went to the Wall Street, where they got to ring the bell. They spent time with Seth Godin, and this is marketing fame. Prior to that, we used to take the students every year to spend, have a time with Warren Buffett and have lunch. Our program is designed to create an intensity of relationships that is nurtured like a family. This is our Christmas party we had, and where the kids come together. We have a mentor party on Friday night. During that Friday night, I slipped, fell, screwed up my back, so I couldn't even stand Saturday night, and there I am lying down. But it is a group that cares about one another and values relationships when they leave here. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but I will tell you that there is no other program in the nation that offers that kind of experience for outside the classroom. So the final thing that I would say about what differentiates us are the relationship that we have in Melvin and Sylvia Wolff. And for years, they have been supporters of us with scholarships. About 10 years ago, they named the center, and they became much more involved. They have, there's Amanda, who is with us today. Amanda is in the back. She is now a program manager here. The impact of those scholarships allows us to get students who can have more double majors. They don't have to work when they go through our program. They can experience a more robust experience because they're not trying to juggle 2 or 3 jobs and go through the rigors of the Wolff Center. These are some of the people. Brad Deitster, and Melvin brought, that was his advertising branding strategy guy. Peter Morelli, very big in organizational development. And they have been sort of co-creators of what we've done in putting together our 4 core values. And those are the values of the Wolff Center: purpose, relationships, action, and discipline. And those are the behavioral competencies. So why do we care about authenticity, or why do we care about whether or not you are a person of character? Because for us, entrepreneurship is a very lonely endeavor. You don't have a team of lawyers and people to support you. It is your values, it is your character, that creates the tone for your team, for the jobs that you're creating. The second thing is we look at what's going on out there in the world, there are a lot of bad things that are happening, and they're happening not because people weren't smart or they didn't have good business models, they didn't have resources. So whether you want to look at Wall Street or what we've done, Enron here, or institutionally, what has gone on with issues of character, and the academic world is not, and whether it's Penn State or Baylor, these are the core issues of why the big things have gone wrong in our country, is because somewhere along the way, the colleges and universities of this country walked away from the importance that you have in an educational experience of teaching character, integrity, values, and ethics, and creating experiences for your students to demonstrate that. So the three popular philosophies that we sort of work against are what's in it for me, if it feels good, do it, and what's the least I can get away with, replacing them with the three principles of how do we get our students to become the best versions of themselves? What are the best books to read, the best food to eat, the best movies to see, and so forth. We focus on that. We make lists of that. We have sessions on that. The second is that doing the right thing has just been the right thing to do forever. And that reinforcing that these values are ancient and important. And finally is we want students to be in control of their lives. We want them to know who they are, their values, their dreams. Every one of our students has a list of 100 dreams. We want to have purpose. I probably ought to mention that we do a thing with Berkman where every student in our program, the first week they're here, they take a Berkman Assessment. Every mentor is given a Berkman Assessment free. And that we use that Berkman for three things. One is figuring out who the kid is. Two is who is that student when they're on a team. And three is what should that student look for in terms of a career or the kind of experiences that they would be most satisfied in their work experience. So this program is not static. It changes every year. The Amazon thing I mentioned, we're creating, these are things that are all up and running. As we look at the incoming class, we're now partnering with the Junior Achievement and high schools, running pitch competitions that will be held here in March. Thanks to Jessica and Nelson and their relationships, we now have a program that we're going to run with Baker Ripley for high school seniors, where we're going to run an entrepreneurship camp. 1 week will be a maker space where they're going to create something. The next week, we will go out and spend a week. They'll come here to campus and make a pitch in front of investors. We'll get the mentors, but we're pushing what we do here out into the community. We're working with a lot of the stuff we do with our purpose class and leadership class, putting that online, trying to figure out how to take this and spread it around. Last year, for the first time ever, every WCE student received a scholarship, and that was a real hurdle for us and something we're proud of. I'm at $3.6 million on the way to $5 million, so if any of you would like to write a check today, we're welcome to, you're more than welcome to. But the point is, this thing is constantly changing. We have a collaboration. We're working on a project, 2 projects with MD Anderson, taking their technologies into the market. One of our professors is opening a spa. He turned the whole thing over to a team. They designed it. They figured out the fixtures, the colors. It was a semester class between the end of December and the beginning of classes next week. We got the #1 ranking, and I think for this first time, when you leave here and go up 45, you'll see a billboard that has University of Houston #1 in entrepreneurship. We lost Bill Sherrill, our friend and supporter. The other big thing that happened a couple of weeks ago is that the Wolffs created an endowed gift of $13 million, which provides permanence and security for leadership and the future. we're taking what we do here. We've created a website called WCE Life, in which we look at values, those 4 core values, and then we have students rank. What is the most important? For instance, we had a student say the number 1 value was family. The kid's family was, in terms of that, was the most important thing in their life. And so we differentiate between what is important and what they're expressing. So in his case, the number 1 value was family. It was number 10 in terms of expressing. He couldn't talk to his family. There were different time zones, different days, didn't see them. And so when you get those gaps of what is important in your life and what are you expressing, that's what this program says. You can be in control of your life. So what he did, we got him, the parents set up with Skype. We had a communication set up unbeknownst to him. The class did a crowdfundme. They arranged for airline tickets to bring the kids' parents over for Christmas. It is you in control of aligning your life with your values in a way that you make a difference and intentionally live a life of character. So that is WCE Life. It's up and running now, where I can go to any team in any high school and say, okay, give me your name, put an email in, give me a password, and then have every person on your team take a survey. And the things that we would ask them on a team in terms of relationships: do you guys trust each other? Do you cooperate? Do you communicate? They would then score that. We would then say, hey, does this team have purpose? Do they have a vision? Do they know what they're doing? Do they have goals as to where they want to go? What are they good at? Do you got the right people and the right jobs, so forth? What KPIs do you have? And then this is sort of engagement. Are people all in? Are they holding each other accountable? Is there personal growth going on? And when it's done, they hit a button and it gives them a picture individually of each person on the team and the team. It then, each one of those gaps, if you will, has got a whole series of reading and or YouTube or TED Talks that are associated to address the weakness. Our hope is that we can take this and spread this across the nation in terms of, hey, here's a tool that you can understand your values, you can put a team together. So this is the kind of stuff that we're doing. Again, what do we want to do? We want to empower the lives of our students. How we do that with mentors and simulations, what we end up with is students who can think, lead, and connect. And this notion of business and human development, not just satisfying for a business education, but a richer, more full, holistic approach to both the head and the heart. Our students at the center with mentors and faculties and real issues. And with that, we're going to take a 5-minute break, and then I'm going to introduce Frantic. So if you want to go.